the one that is humble, they say a patient dog eat the fattest bone. It's not true. A patient dog most times don't eat any bone. Listen, listen. It's a dog that know how to do beg. He will follow you. He will come and dance around you. Prostrate for you. Somersault for you. That's the dog that eats the fattest bone. An arrogant dog will always be chased with a stick. You vex. You carry stone. But a humble dog that knows how to play, he will lick the hand of the master. It will fall on the ground. It will play. Even if you don't want. People who are watching say, throw small now for this dog. You see why an arrogant man cannot pray. Any man you hear that say, I cannot beg. I cannot beg anyone. I know that is a prayerless man. Because in the place of prayer, you will beg God. You will plead with God. Jacob was a strong man, but a day came. His father-in-law is behind, chasing him. Esau is in the front. He separated his family, was left alone. That night he was begging God for his own life. What was a spiritual reality became a physical wrestling match. He grabbed God. I thought he got the blessing when he cheated his elder brother. What was he begging for? That you will bless me. He begged. He pleaded with God. Prayer is you pleading with God, begging God. Prayer is you also asking. There's an asking aspect of God. Prayer is you also demanding. Prayer is also you negotiating. Life is all about negotiation. Those that wins in life are those that win in life are those that know how to negotiate in the place of prayer. Abraham is a champion in that. God don't work. Abraham said, please come. God, come. What if you find 50? God said 50, no day there. He said 25. The first of all start with 100, no 100, 50, 25. He said 10. You know why he said 10? Lot and his wife too. The two daughters. The two husbands for the daughter-in-law. That's how many? 6. Let's dash them. 2 children. That's how many? 10. Family planning. Abraham looked at this and said, what if you find 10? And they said, okay. Because he negotiated for Lot. The Bible said when the overthrow was about to take place, God remembered Lot. God remembered Abraham and saved Lot. Your prayer can save your loved ones. I dare to even say it this way. Your loved ones might not be right, but your righteous prayer can save them, bring them out of trouble. Because God knows family ties. God knows that He will pain you, that you will not rejoice when they are going through stuff. That's why you have to pray always. That boy is stupid. Let him remain there. Let him remain there. In the night, you will start crying. Many people that are saved today are saved because of their mother. the prayer of their mother. Intercession is part of prayer. Interceding for one another is part of prayer. The Hebrew word for prayer is tefillah or tefillah. It's spelled T-E-F-L-L-A-H. Tefillah. Etymologically, what I mean by etymologically, the root word for tefillah means to execute judgment. To execute what? Judgment. In the place of prayer, we execute judgment against the wicked. It also means thinking. In the place of prayer, we think the thought of God. We entertain higher thoughts. Prayer helps to clarify our thinking. If you are having a stupid thought, start praying. You find that it will cease. If you are having a negative thought, start praying. Negative thoughts are the source of anxieties and worries. Negative thoughts. Negative thinking pattern. It is in the place of prayer, tefillah, that we think right. In this sense, the word tefillah also refers to a process of accounting or contemplation. That is self-examination. Prayer is self-examination. Life that is not examined is not worth living. When you pray, you examine yourself. Self-examination or self-judgment. Bible says that if we judge ourselves, we shall not be judged. So in the place of prayer, instead of judging others, judge yourself. Jesus gave a parable. Two people went into the temple to pray. One was judging the other instead of judging himself. But the one that judged himself, examined himself, went home exalted. Look at what he said. The other one was judging the other one. He said, this one is a tax collector. He's 100 Marian. He's very wicked. God, what is this one even doing in your house? Have you ever seen some people look at you? You know that they disdain you. They look at you with holiness and righteousness eyes. And just looking at you, their eyes remind you of the sins that you and God have forgotten. What is this one doing in here? And it's time of prayer. You just raise your voice. Oh, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. They are not praying. Because when you are doing self-examination, when you are looking at yourself, you will not see others. So prayer is self-examination. Prayer is you judging yourself before God. You don't want God to judge you. You are telling God, it is me. Oh. That's what the Bible said, that whosoever that covereth his sin shall not prosper. It's not being sin conscious. It's you being truthful in the place of prayer. Self-examination. It's you being sincere and being honest. Not coming with arrogancy kind of thinking or thinking pattern. Not judging others. This one is not praying. He's not praying. His prayer is not hot. What kind of children tongue is that? No. In a place of prayer, there comes a time that you have to concentrate on yourself. Not on others. Not judging others. Not looking down on people. Say, every time Sister Micah is Michael is praying, it's Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Is he calling your name? If you are praying, you will not notice that. If you are praying, there's a lot of judging and pointing of fingers in the place of prayer these days. If you are praying, you will not have time to look at what other people are doing during prayer. Say, this one we are praying, all he's doing is walking around. He's walking around. He don't know whether he's praying. He's lost. Look at it. Eli was not praying. He misjudged. Hannah was not saying anything audible. So I was pouring out my soul unto God. Do you know there comes a time in the place of prayer you will lose words. That's what they call groaning. You lost words. English will not do. Your village tongue will not do. Nothing can express the longing of your soul than the groaning of your spirit. You will lack words, but you know what you are praying for. But you will lack words to express it. Prayer is all about self-examination, not judging others, judging your own self. Prayer is also self-analysis or self-evaluation. It also means to judge yourself and to pray. Judge yourself, then pray. Not condemn yourself. That's a difference between judging yourself and condemning yourself. Look at that guy when he came. He said, I am a sinner. The Bible says he could not even lift up his eyes. He judged himself accurately. What is the difference between Saul and David? Saul was told, you have sinned. He said, honor me. David was told, you have sinned. David said, Lord, to you and you alone have I committed this great sin. He judged himself. When the prophet Nathan came and told him the parable, he gave the accurate judgment. When he was told, you are the one, he didn't argue. That is what real prayer is. Being sincere, truthful and honest. A man who loves lies cannot pray. God desires truth in the inward part. You know, I told you, we are going to look at it when I said, God does not hear prayer. He answers what backs prayer. Now you are saying one thing to him with your mouth, but a different thing is in your heart. That's why some people will come, say, Pastor, I prayed, there's no result. You didn't pray what was in your heart. You were praying what was in your head. You don't know you are dealing with a man who sees in the secret and reward openly. A man who sees your thoughts afar off. Before the thinking enter into your head, God has seen it. Not using sugar-coated spiritual language. Making long statements to confuse God. But you don't know that is self-deception. The worst deception is not someone deceiving you. It's you deceiving yourself. In a place of prayer, you examine yourself. That's what prayer is all about. Don't come with an arrogant thought. Don't come with an arrogant words. Don't speak so loosely. In the place of prayer, you humble yourself. You examine yourself. Humility is also you not thinking more highly of yourself than you ought to. That's what humility is all about. Not thinking more highly of yourself. You enter inside prayer. Now, prayer machine is here. Let them be praying. Prayer machine is here. Let them give me the microphone. You are not praying fervently. They are praying, you are joking. But when it's your turn to lead, you want to charge everybody. See, God understands all this hypocrisy. And let me tell you, if you have only public prayer life without private prayer life, where you sit down and examine yourself and humble yourself before Jehovah, you're a hypocrite. Many people have public prayer life, but no private prayer life. If you have private prayer life, your public prayer life will be superb. You will have tremendous results. How many of such Bible? Jesus hardly prayed long in the public. He prayed long in the secret. Develop a private prayer life. If you develop a private prayer life, the result will show publicly. If you are praying in your house, when we come here, the raise prayer point, you will not be angry that the prayer was long. You will not get angry and walk away that the prayer is long. After all, Man U did not score. Ronaldo did not score until 91 minutes. Nobody stood up and said it is 90 minutes. Flesh does not like the things of the spirit. Flesh does not like the things of the spirit. Learn to pray. Are you hearing me? At least I've given you a definition of prayer. On Sunday or next week Thursday, we are going to look at the definition of prayer from the Greek word. That one is much interesting, but I like the Hebrew. Let's stay with the Hebrew. What is prayer? What is tefillah? What is tefillah? It means self-judgment. Before you can execute judgment, please judge yourself. The Bible says you cannot rebuke disobedient until your own obedience is complete. Before you bind witches and wizards, judge yourself. One of the prayer we are going to pray this night, we are going to pray, ask God to help you to handle great things. I will keep saying this. It's not everybody that can handle great things. If God puts 70 million naira in your life, will you still be normal? It's in the place of prayer that we develop capacity to handle certain things. Money is a force. If God put 2 billion naira in your account, will you still come to midweek service and be normal and pray? Or will you take you straight to Satan's house? And the test that you can handle great thing is what you do when great thing is happening in the life of others. What you do. There are people who fight great things. That's what the Bible says, rejoice with them that are rejoicing. Can you rejoice with somebody that, or you try to cast aspersion, or try to, the person balloon is becoming big, you carry needle. What you make happen for others, God will make it happen for you. Develop capacity to handle big things. You can do that in the place of prayer. The father of John the Baptist was praying, but he was not praying enough. So when the angel appeared and told him about the birth of John, he wanted to abort it with his mouth by doubt. Mary asked the same question Zachariah asked, but Mary was not punished because Mary is a church member. A priest should know better about what God can do. And most times when we have this argument going on in our mind and we start flowing out of our mouth, it's because our faith level is low. There's something called prayer of faith. Actually, prayer is an expression of faith. The content of your prayer is your prayer is an expression of your faith. How big God is to you will determine the kind of prayer you pray. The bigger the revelation of God to you, the bigger your prayer. How many of you have seen a man who carried juju? If a man carry juju, does he keep quiet? Huh? How do you know that somebody is using juju? He's always looking for opportunity to use his juju. And the juju will be pushing him. True or false? Somebody can keep his oil, he will push it. So he said, wait, let me go. Let me tell you, when you carry the Spirit of God, your step will change. How do you know that somebody is drunk? Look at the step. You can't pray, listen to me, and wander away. Prayer will give your life direction. Do you know, in the place of marriage, if you do not pray well, you will end up with a wrong person. But if you pray enough and mean your prayer that God should direct you, even when your flesh is misleading you, prayer will correct you. Now, prayer also begins with your thoughts. That's why in the place of prayer, we bring every wrong thinking pattern to obedience to the authority of Christ. People who don't pray think rubbish thinking. Rubbish thinking. When you want to pray, don't prayer is a good judgment. The first person you should execute judgment on is your wrong thinking pattern. Execute judgment on your flesh. God, this thing that makes me when I see men, I lose my control. Tell God, put control. Put control. This thing that makes my mouth to talk what is not supposed to. Lord, padlock the mouth. Sincere prayer. Sincere prayer. Sincere prayer. You see, some of you think money is your problem. Money is not what you should be asking God for. You know what? Money enter, but you use your mouth and destroy the money. God, let somebody bless me. When the person bless you, the first thing you tell the person is waka. So what should be your prayer? More money? No, because more money will mean more waka.